Picture this. Your 78-year-old Vietnam vet grandpa scoops up a HOA Karen's $90,000 truck with a rusty excavator and dumps it straight into a creek while she screams through a thunderstorm. That's exactly what happened when Karen Blackwell tried to steal our century-old Texas ranch with forged lab reports and fake violations. One week, she was fining us $3,500 a day for having a red barn. The next, she was in handcuffs watching Grandpa Hal's 40-year-old Caterpillar destroy everything she'd built. I'm Jake Thompson, and this is how one excavator bucket brought down the most powerful HOA president in Central Texas. I never thought a pearl-white Mercedes could change the ground beneath my boots. But when it arrived at the ranch, I felt a fault line breaking under the limestone. I was 25, tall and lean from years of hard work, carrying feed sacks, smelling of cedar shavings and diesel. Nights I studied grazing plans with hope and worry. Hope because I'd finished my ag business degree after juggling night shifts and fencing jobs. Worry because the bank payment was due soon, cattle prices dropped, and the vet warned the old bull needed surgery. My mom's insulin was getting pricier. I carried those worries like men carry photos of their kids, often with a sigh. The ranch was a living scrapbook. Cottonwoods along Sweet Creek bore 4 generations' initials. Great-granddad Clarence started building the home with 2 mules and a stove. Grandpa Hal, a Vietnam vet, doubled the land, built the red barn from salvaged beams, and swore the ranch would keep working. My dad, Michael, almost lost the fight to progress, not by choice. A rogue bull crashed his tractor, flipping it in a gully when I was 13. After his funeral, I took over chores and prayers, learning to drive the stock trailer before I could even parallel park. I thought loneliness was just another chore. By voting age, Austin was swallowing cornfields with gated communities like Pine Creek Estates. 7-figure lots, thick rule books, fake tile roofs, and recycled fountains. I ignored it mostly, focused on cattle and dreaming of asking Emily Rodriguez, a tough scholarship kid from the city, to marry me. Emily met me at a soil microbes seminar. She was the first in her family to attend college, passionate about justice. She liked my quiet honesty. While her classmates chased internships, Emily learned to pull calves and swear at mesquite thorns. We dreamed of a future blending spreadsheets and saddle leather. But futures change with strangers. The Mercedes arrived dust-free, sun flashing off its hood. Karen Blackwell stepped out, HOA royalty, early 60s but looking late 40s with Botox, sharp and commanding. Her steel-gray bob was tight, pearl earrings big as marbles, sky-blue blouse with the HOA crest, soft buttery cardigan, pearl necklace like hailstones, smelling of gardenia and spa linens. Cat-eye rhinestone sunglasses reflected my sweat-streaked shirt. She carried a bursting leather portfolio and rose gold glitter phone. A smaller portfolio sat in the passenger seat. Backup ammo. Rumor said Karen's late husband made a fortune flipping startups. She turned widowhood into full-time job protecting property values and pruning the rude. Pine Creek residents called her Madam President with half respect, half fear. The postman once left a box crooked. She filmed it and got him reassigned. Wherever she walked, people smoothed the ground behind her. "Mr. Thompson, I presume?" Her voice was honey-wrapped in razor wire. I tipped my cap. "Morning, ma'am. Jake Thompson, what can I do for you?" Karen stepped carefully like gravel might void her warranty. "We need to address your farm's impact. Visual, smell, noise." She opened her portfolio like a dealer, showing glossy photos. The red barn, a steaming manure pile, a hay rake casting shadows toward Pine Creek homes. Item 1. The barn color clashes with our approved Tuscan palette. Sandstone beige or Spanish clay recommended. I looked. Sun and weather faded the barn to maroon and cinnamon. It's been that color for nearly a century. Item 2. Odor. Winds carry farm smells to morning yoga on the clubhouse patio. Residents paid for clean air. Enclosed manure bays would help. She showed a beige, windowless shed. I crossed my arms. Cattle gotta poop somewhere. Before that clubhouse was built. Item 3. Noise. Roosters crow at 5:47 a.m. before Pine Creek's 7 a.m. limit. We suggest a rooster curfew or relocation. I fought a smile. Anything else? A fine schedule. $3,500 per day, retroactive to first notice sent last month. I never got any notice. She raised a brow. Certified mail, Signature waved by Mr. Hal Thompson. Grandpa never waved anything. She pressed, maybe he missed it. 7 days to show progress. I flipped papers. Fines for unpainted buildings, open compost, unapproved livestock. Time-stamped photos showed long-term surveillance. Karen's perfume floated. You want to avoid court. We'll buy an easement, 100 feet past the creek for a landscaped buffer, fair market value plus relocation allowance. Buffer? I pictured bulldozers eating my pasture. Move what? Hay bales, equipment, smaller stock. Nothing major. She smiled slowly. The market's shifting. County planners expect mixed residential zoning in 5 years. Selling now might be smart. I exhaled sharply. Ma'am, this ranch isn't for sale. Her smile vanished. Nostalgia is lovely, but progress picks winners. I'd hate for your family to be on the wrong side of history over paint and chicken wire. Heat rose in me. Lady, the only history I see is you trespassing to fight a honest sunrise. She feigned surprise. Trespassing? The access road is public right-of-way per our survey. That survey's wrong. County plat shows the line at Sweet Creek Center. No more. I never expected a pearl-white Mercedes to shake the ground beneath my boots, but the day it rolled onto the ranch, I felt something crack beneath the limestone. I was 25, lean from years of hauling feed sacks, smelling of cedar shavings, diesel, and sweat. Nights were spent studying grazing plans with hope and worry. Hope because I'd finished my ag business degree juggling shifts and fencing jobs. Worry because the bank payment was due, cattle prices fell, and the vet warned the old bull needed surgery. Mom's insulin was getting pricier. I carried those numbers like some carry photos, pulled them out, stared, sighed. Our ranch was living history. Cottonwoods along Sweet Creek bore 4 generations' initials. Great-granddad Clarence built the first chimney with 2 mules and a stove. Grandpa Hal, a Vietnam vet, doubled the land, built the red barn from salvaged beams, and vowed it would remain a working ranch. My dad, Michael, nearly lost the fight to progress, not by choice. A rogue bull flipped his tractor, leaving me 13, hearing sirens on a dirt road that never had an ambulance. After his funeral, I took over chores and prayers, learning to drive the stock trailer before I could park a car. Loneliness was just another chore. Austin expanded, swallowing cornfields with gated communities like Pine Creek Estates. 7-figure lots, thick rules, fake tile roofs, and recycled fountains. I mostly ignored them, focusing on cattle and dreaming of asking Emily Rodriguez, a tough city scholarship kid, to marry me. Emily met me at a soil microbes seminar, first in her family to attend college, passionate about justice. She liked my quiet honesty. While classmates aimed for skyscraper internships, she learned to pull calves and swear at mesquite thorns. We planned a future mixing spreadsheets and saddle leather. Then came the dust-free Mercedes, sun flashing off its hood. Karen Blackwell stepped out, HOA royalty, Botoxed and sharp. Pearl studs like marbles, sky blue blouse with HOA crest, buttery cardigan, pearl necklace like hailstones, smelling of gardenia and spa linens. Cat-eye rhinestone sunglasses reflected my sweat-streaked shirt. She carried a stuffed leather portfolio and rose gold glitter phone. A smaller portfolio sat in the passenger seat, backup ammo. Rumor had it Karen's late husband made a fortune flipping startups. She turned widowhood into a full-time job protecting property values and pruning the rude. Pine Creek called her Madam President, half respect, half fear. When a postman left a box crooked, she filmed him and got him reassigned. Wherever she walked, people smoothed the ground behind her. Mr. Thompson, I presume? Her voice was honey-wrapped in razor wire. I tipped my cap. Morning, ma'am. Jake Thompson. What can I do? Karen stepped like gravel might break her warranty. We need to discuss your farm's impact. Visual, smell, noise. She opened glossy photos, red barn, steaming manure pile, hay rake casting shadows toward Pine Creek homes. Item 1, barn color clashes with our Tuscan palette. Sandstone beige or Spanish clay suggested. I looked. Sun and weather faded boards to maroon and cinnamon. That barn's been that color nearly a century. Item 2, odor. Winds carry farm smells to yoga at the clubhouse. Residents paid for clean air and closed manure bays would help. She showed a beige, windowless shed. I crossed my arms. Cattle gotta poop somewhere. before that clubhouse existed. Item 3, noise. Roosters crow at 5:47 a.m. before Pine Creek's 7 a.m. limit. We suggest rooster curfew or relocation. I fought a smile. Anything else? A fine schedule. $3,500 per day, retroactive to last month's first notice. I never got any notice. She raised a brow. Certified mail. Signature waived by Mr. Hal Thompson. Grandpa never waived anything. She pressed. Maybe he missed it. 7 days to show progress. I flipped papers, fines for unpainted buildings, open compost, unapproved livestock. Time-stamped photos showed long surveillance. Karen's perfume floated. Want to avoid court? We'll buy an easement, 100 feet past the creek, for a landscaped buffer. Fair market value plus relocation allowance. Buffer? I pictured bulldozers eating my pasture. Move what? Hay bales, equipment, smaller stock. Nothing major. She smiled slowly. Market's shifting. County plans mixed residential zoning in 5 years. Selling now might be smart. I exhaled sharply. Ma'am, this ranch isn't for sale. Her smile vanished. Nostalgia is lovely, but progress picks winners. I'd hate your family be on the wrong side of history over paint and chicken wire. Heat rose. Lady, the only history I see is you trespassing to fight an honest sunrise. She feigned surprise. Trespassing? The access road is public right-of-way per our survey. That survey's wrong. County map shows Sweet Creek Center, no more. Karen slid sunglasses to her nose. Lines on paper bend, mister. Thompson, with pressure. She stuck a neon-pink pre-violation notice on the gate. 7 days, she said, snapping photos of peeling paint, manure pile, and family cemetery. Each click felt like a tightening chain around me. I stepped forward. You got your evidence, now get off my land! Karen watched my clenched fists. You seem upset. Change is hard. I'll note your emotional state in my report, maybe for intervention. In English? Anger management, conflict de-escalation. She smiled coldly, left. The Mercedes eased away, leaving tire marks in the dust. I tore open the folder. Paint swatches fluttered like dying moths. I threw them into the manure like fake confetti. My heart pounded, the same rhythm as when Dad's tractor rolled and the banker frowned. I kicked gravel over Karen's footprints, anger burning. The pink sticker shone in the sun, a flag from an invader, a war declared. An engine rumbled, Grandpa Hal in his dented Ford, dust clouds trailing. Hal stopped, looked at the mess and me trembling. What storm blew through here? I pointed. HOA lady says we stink. We're loud. Barn's wrong color. 7 days or $3,500 a day. Hal peeled the sticker, folded it, pocketed it. Figures. She offered to buy an easement, I said. Said progress picks winners. Hal's eyes narrowed, haunted by Vietnam. Progress hasn't met my excavator. Son, deep roots don't care about sprinklers. We survived the '56 drought. We'll survive a perfume parade. Thunderheads gathered. Ozone smelled in the air. Hal and I stood against the barn. A mower droned in the distance. I felt rain drop, knowing storms, sky and human-made, were coming. For the first time since Dad died, I wasn't alone. I imagined a camera letting viewers see my resolve. Time to bend or dig deeper. Deep Texas roots become anchors in limestone. I barely slept. Every dawn I expected deputies with tickets. The lane stayed empty except dust and cicadas. Grandpa fixed fences, but his eyes flicked to cedar shadows, sensing watchers. On day 4, a black drone buzzed low, scattering calves. I cursed, waved a shovel. The drone circled, then flew back to Pine Creek, leaving dust and angry cows. That afternoon, a certified letter from Pine Creek HOA accused us of cattle waste runoff. A glossy photo showed my pond tinted orange with a red arrow to algae. I slammed the table, spilling Grandpa's coffee. Emily said, "You told her no, so she sent a spy." Residents praised Karen online. One said ranchers needed to modernize or move. Emily pushed legal action. Grandpa joked about birdshot. I rewatched drone footage until the battery died. Next morning, 2 drones flew again. Grandpa rolled an old hay rake under them, sending dust up. Karen posted toxic farm next to our children's homes, gaining likes fast. County officers came, embarrassed on gravel. They tested water with pool kits, filmed manure, and gave a cease and desist. Waste management suspended pending lab results. Grandpa laughed. Cows manage waste all day. Good luck suspending that. Officers took photos but didn't laugh. My world shrank. Feed store cut credit. Barn tours canceled. Bank called to discuss risk. Even the BBQ joint refused orders after Karen's complaints. Emily stayed late, sorting receipts, eyes red with anger. They're bleeding you dry with paper cuts. Death by bureaucracy. Grandpa said it was siege warfare. Starve a castle. King opens the gate. Or castle digs a tunnel. I knew pressure. Barns needed paint. Bull needed surgery. Bank was closing. Every minute with fines was time lost on chores. I felt like bailing water with a slotted spoon. Thursday, a white van from Tri-County Lab took water samples. Next day, Pine Creek posted fecal coliform 280% over limit, with emojis but no proof. I hammered nails until dusk, sweat stinging eyes, iron taste in mouth. That weekend, Karen showed up in person with a convoy. Mercedes, black Ram, flatbed with picnic gear. They set up a block party on my ranch, kids running in dust, parents snapping selfies. I marched down, fists clenched. Chad mocked me. Community Outreach Day, grab a burger. Karen toasted, exposure therapy helps rural folks adapt. 30 strangers trampled my easement. A toddler smeared ketchup on Dad's carved fence post. Loud music scared the bull. Charcoal grills steamed near dry needles. Grandpa appeared, calm with a clipboard, asked for a chili cooking permit. No permit needed, Karen laughed. Grandpa cited a fire ban. $500 fine per spark. Karen froze. Chad flicked ash to break rules. Grandpa took photo for evidence. Karen said insurance covered it. Grandpa asked, what about livestock stampedes? Chad tensed. Grandpa pointed to cows moving toward the noise. A stampede could crush a Mercedes. Panic spread. Karen ordered to keep gate shut, but I swung it open. Cattle flooded through, ruining the party in seconds. The convoy fled, tires spinning. Grandpa said, nothing illegal about free-range cattle. That night, cameras caught fake footage of my cattle trespassing. Karen sent it to county, demanding livestock containment. Emily checked timestamps against cell tower pings. My cows were corralled an hour before the video. Deep fake, she said. They swapped your cows into neighborhood footage. Grandpa didn't know what deep fake meant, but he smelled a lie. He saved the fake evidence on a thumb drive labeled fiction. Monday morning, a sheriff's cruiser blocked the lane. 2 deputies served a temporary restraining order. All cattle must stay 500 feet away from Pine Creek until a hearing. Violation fine, $10,000. Chad followed in the Ram, filming me taking the papers. Smile for the board, Chad mocked. The money pressure grew. Without pasture near the creek, feed costs doubled. The vet's bill for bull surgery came, $4,000 up front. The bank called again. I paced the kitchen, eyes red. They're choking us, Emily. Emily rubbed my shoulders, whispered, law is slow but sure. We'll prove the video fake and lift the order. Slow isn't good enough, I hissed. They know it. Grandpa poured black coffee. Sieges end 2 ways, relief army or breakout. I asked, got an army in the barn? Grandpa smiled grimly. Breakout it is. He pulled out dusty blueprints, spread maps of the creek, marked property lines, easements, and an unregistered culvert from 1987 to divert floodwater. Invisible to those who don't know the land. Most HOA folks can't read topo maps. We plan to reroute cattle through a culvert to avoid restricted zones, proving compliance while cutting Karen's ammo. Emily gathered evidence of HOA violations, fire ban breaks, drone spying, fake videos. Grandpa prepared adaptive infrastructure, heavy equipment ready for action. The night before testing the culvert, I drove Emily back to town. A cold breeze swept across the windshield. Suddenly, a loud snap. Front left tire shredded. The truck fishtailed but stopped inches from a pole. I saw the tire was cleanly cut, 4 roofing nails arranged like caltrops on the road. Headlights flashed behind us, blinding. A silhouette held up a phone, recording. Emily called 911, hands trembling. The vehicle backed into darkness. Deputies arrived 20 minutes later. The younger one from the restraining order shrugged, saying it could be debris. Emily asked for fingerprints. The deputy sighed, scribbled a note on a Starbucks sleeve, and left. Back at the ranch, I grabbed the spare lug wrench from the mailbox and found an envelope with a Polaroid of Emily pumping gas that evening, time-stamped. On the back, Sharpie read, "Next time." I slammed the mailbox door hard, making a sound like a church bell. I marched to the equipment shed, turned on the work lights, and wrestled Grandpa's old chainsaw onto the workbench. I sharpened each tooth with fierce focus until sparks flew. Grandpa found me at dawn, his voice firm. "Jake, anger dulls faster than a saw in sand." My eyes were red. "They went after Emily." Hal nodded once. "Then we finished the breakout tonight." Tuesday night, under cloudy skies, Grandpa and I quietly guided cattle through the hidden culvert by flashlight. Their hooves splashed through shallow water, emerging inside natural berms, exactly 504 feet from Pine Creek's boundary, tracked by GPS for compliance. When we returned, Chad's ram was waiting at the gate, music blaring. He leaned out, eyes wild. "Evening, cowboys. Heard you're moving stock after dark. Environmental violation." He scanned the pasture with a thermal camera. I started live streaming on my phone. "Documenting harassment, folks. HOA cop trespassing again." Chad sneered. "Roads public." Grandpa held up a sign he'd painted that day. "Private drive. Trespassers will be towed." He placed it firmly in the dust, then unchained the old Caterpillar excavator from the trailer. The engine coughed to life, black smoke puffing and rumbled forward behind Grandpa like a mighty war elephant. Chad's confidence wavered. "That relic can't touch my truck." Grandpa revved the diesel, treads crunching gravel. "This relic moved bigger things in '68. My live stream hit over 200 viewers, hearts flooding the screen. Chad backed up, dust rising, flipping me the middle finger. "Next hearing's Friday, farm boy. Hope you like court costs." Grandpa killed the engine. "Court's fine, but sometimes justice comes early." I ended the stream on Grandpa's stern face, half lit by floodlights, the heavy machine silhouetted like a prehistoric beast ready for command. Pine Creek slept, unaware the siege was breaking, and we were done waiting inside. Night fell over Thompson Ranch like wet velvet, filled with crickets and the faint diesel sound of the Caterpillar cooling by the gate. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, Emily's soft breathing beside me, the only sign the world hadn't tipped completely. Sleep wouldn't come. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw roofing nails shining in my headlights and Emily's time-stamped Polaroid mocking me. Before dawn, I rose, boots crunching wet grass under a purple sky. In the east pasture, the herd chewed calmly, ignoring court orders and drones. Cows didn't care about HOA politics. They cared about fresh hay and steady hands. I envied their calm. By 7, the ranch phone crackled. The bank manager called again, gentle but full of dread. "We're calling your loan, Jake. 45 days to pay or we foreclose." I hung up before the apology finished. Foreclosure. The word felt heavier than any fence post. Emily found me pounding nails into a new rail, shirt soaked with sweat. She took the hammer from my hand. "You can't outbuild this, Jake." She gave me a thick file folder. "Maybe we can outlawyer it." Inside were screen captures, flight logs, the deputy's Starbucks note, and copies of every violation, Emily's growing war chest. "Proof means nothing if the judge is Karen's golf buddy," I said. Emily's jaw tightened. "Then we take it higher." Her eyes burned with the same fire that got her into law school when everyone said kids from Oak Hill High don't make it past community college. That afternoon, we drove to the county seat, my dusty Silverado parked between German SUVs outside the courthouse. Inside the marble lobby, Emily approached a woman in a gray pantsuit with a badge, Dana Reed from the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. Reed listened without emotion as Emily explained the drone fakes and forged lab reports. Reed finally said, "We've had anonymous tips about Pine Creek, data manipulation and harassment to force land sales. If you bring me solid proof of forged reports, we can take this straight to the state." She gave Emily her business card with a note on the back. "Chain of custody. Secure originals." We returned to the ranch hopeful until we saw the Caterpillar, covered in orange violation tags. A county flatbed waited nearby. Deputy Walters, the younger one, waved a clipboard. "Unauthorized industrial equipment within 300 feet of residential zone. Must be impounded." I laughed hollowly. "Residential? That's cow pasture." Walters shrugged. The new overlay map says otherwise. He avoided my eyes like a man doing a job he didn't believe in. The Caterpillar lurched onto the flatbed. Metal scraping metal sounded like betrayal. Grandpa came too late to stop it. He watched the trailer disappear in a cloud of red dust, jaw clenched around an unlit cigar. They just took my ace! I spat dust. Breakouts bring retaliation. Grandpa's eyes grew distant, haunted by Vietnam memories. Every action has a reaction until someone crosses the line. Then the tide turns. The tide turned the next morning, or so it seemed. The county gave surprise news. An emergency hearing set for Friday, 5 days away, with Judge Grace Hollister, known for being fair. The restraining order on the cattle would be reviewed. Emily prepared like for finals, making exhibits, cross-references, and timelines. I focused on chores, the simpler logic of feed and water. Friday morning was clear. I wore my only suit, feeling strange in the wool. Emily's hair was pulled tight, her eyes sharp. Grandpa wore denim and a bolo tie. Dress blues, he joked. We entered courtroom 2 as Pine Creek residents whispered behind polished hands. Karen sat front row wearing extra pearls, lawyers flanking her like guards. Chad lounged 2 rows back, chewing gum with a bored grin like he thought court was a show and he had a backstage pass. Judge Hollister, silver-haired and brisk, called the docket. Emily opened the case. Drone footage was fake, lab results unproven, and the restraining order based on altered evidence. She showed video of Deputy Walters serving papers while Chad filmed, pointing out the conflict of interest. Reed sat in the back, taking notes. Karen's lawyer responded with glossy printouts and a fast-talking environmental expert who mentioned unusual effluent signatures. Emily challenged him. "You never visited the ranch? Your report is based on photos emailed by Miss Blackwell?" the expert stammered. Judge Hollister raised an eyebrow. When Emily finished, Karen asked for a recess to show new evidence. At Hollister's nod, Chad brought in a TV cart. The surveillance showed headlights and shadows moving cattle at night, Grandpa and me. The video zoomed in on mud tracks called a contamination event. Emily objected, saying the chain of custody was unknown. The judge allowed it but noted concerns. Near lunch, Karen's final move was a sworn affidavit claiming Sweet Creek had unsafe E. coli levels, backed by a county public health letter. Emily's face went pale. This was Reed's area, but the document looked real. Reed stood up from the gallery. "Your Honor, may I?" Hollister allowed. Reed pointed out typos and wrong seal colors. Fake. The court buzzed. Hollister ordered an immediate forensic review and paused the hearing until 3 p.m. outside. Chad brushed past me. "Nice suit, farm boy. Shame you'll lose it in bankruptcy." My knuckles tightened. Grandpa held my arm. "Be patient. The next move is coming." Back inside, Judge Hollister got straight to it. Affidavit was forged, lab letter fake. The restraining order was lifted, fines stayed, and a full hearing was set for 30 days later. I breathed a sigh of relief. Karen's face turned red, but she smiled. She stood and said, "Your Honor, for community safety, Pine Creek will keep private security patrols." Hollister shrugged and scolded Chad for filming legal service. Chad smirked, unapologetic. Court ended. Outside, reporters swarmed. Emily answered questions. I slipped away to get the truck. When I returned, Emily was gone. The phone rang, unknown number. I picked up. A distorted voice said, "Trade the ranch deed for the girl, farm boy. 6 hours." Then the call ended. For a moment I stood frozen in the courthouse shade, phone to my ear long after the line went dead. Then adrenaline hit like gunfire. I ran inside, no sign of Emily in the halls, bathrooms, or parking lot. Nothing. Grandpa and Reed found me pale and breathing hard. I showed them the phone. Reed's jaw tightened. "Ping the signal." She called State Tech. Minutes later, they traced the phone to Pine Creek Clubhouse. Sheriff Johnson met us at the ranch gate, lights flashing, deputies behind him. No warrants yet. I couldn't wait. I sped the Silverado down the county road, Johnson following, radios crackling. At the Pine Creek gate, a security guard tried to block us. Grandpa's Ford pushed up behind me, its iron bumper knocking the guard's golf cart off the sidewalk. The gate swung open. The clubhouse parking lot was full, but the doors were locked. Reed saw a basement window open. I squeezed through and dropped into darkness. The air smelled of chlorine and cleaning chemicals. My heart pounded. I heard a muffled sob in a storage room. I kicked the door. It broke loose. Emily sat duct-taped to a chair, tears streaking the dust. Chad turned, taser raised. "Back off, cowboy." I didn't. I tackled Chad and we crashed into metal shelves. The taser prongs missed, sparking. We struggled, my anger fueled by days of humiliation and the Polaroid in my pocket. Chad swung a mop handle. I took the hit, head ringing, then punched him in the gut. Chad went down. Johnson burst in, gun drawn. Reed followed, badge flashing. Deputies cuffed Chad while Reed took photos of the room. Bags of shredded documents, Pine Creek letterhead, blank lab forms. Bingo. Karen arrived in silk and fury. "This is trespassing!" Johnson Mirandized her mid-sentence for accessory to kidnapping and evidence tampering. Emily cried as the tape came off her wrists, but her voice was strong. "Check her phone." She filmed everything. Karen went pale as Reed held up a bag of evidence. Cameras flashed. Walters was there too, this time meeting my eyes with a silent apology. By dusk, news vans swarmed. Footage of Karen in handcuffs aired statewide. Under pressure, the county released Grandpa's Caterpillar. The HOA board held an emergency meeting to remove Karen as president, too late to save her reputation. Residents whispered lawsuits. Property values fell overnight. Emily spent Saturday organizing seized documents. They showed years of fake tests, threat letters, and false zoning maps. Reed whistled low. "This is RICO territory." Chad, denied bail, stewed in county jail. Karen posted bond, but her ankle monitor beeped every time she neared the creek. The HOA lawyer quit after reporters found donations from Karen's PAC to his wife's judge campaign. Grandpa parked the saved Caterpillar by the gate like a trophy. "Told you overstep was coming." I smiled, but my hands shook remembering Emily's bruises from the duct tape. Sunday morning was soft like peach. A neighbor I barely knew brought a casserole and a note. "We believed the wrong people. Sorry." Another truck delivered hay, and the feed store credit was restored by the bank. The siege walls were cracking. That evening, Emily and I stood at Sweet Creek Bridge. Water bubbled, washing away weeks of fear. Emily took my hand. "First battle won," she said. "War's not over," I replied, hope in my voice. Across the creek, Pine Creek's stucco towers glowed, reflecting the red barn still proudly unpainted. Some residents inside still muttered about property values, but I only heard katydids and Emily's steady, duct-tape-free breath. The moon rose silver on the water as we stayed until frogs sang, quietly planning how to keep this victory before the next storm. Dawn after Emily's rescue felt like borrowed time. Karen was still free on bond. Commissioners whispered about seizing Thompson land for an emergency wetland project. The bank pressed foreclosure. Emily hunted for evidence while Grandpa Hal patrolled the creek with shotgun and thermos. 2 days before the county vote, Creek Watch Cam alerted us. Pine Creek contractors were installing orange silt fence on Thompson land, shifting the property line. I live-streamed as Deputy Hicks tried to stop them, but Sheriff Johnson arrived with a court injunction. The crew packed up under 30,000 online viewers. At the vote, Emily exposed Karen's scheme with forged lab slips and testimony from a state investigator. Grandpa showed flood maps proving Pine Creek's clubhouse sat on a federal easement. Commissioners postponed the decision. Karen stormed out, phone glued to her ear. That stormy evening, Chad returned in his impounded black Ram with 2 jeeps hauling concrete barricades, shouting contamination quarantine. He led workers to block the gate. Grandpa, back with the Caterpillar excavator, knocked the first barricade aside in pouring rain. Chad charged the excavator in the Ram, but Grandpa lifted and tipped the truck into Sweet Creek. Sirens blared. Deputies arrested Chad while 30,000 live-stream viewers cheered. Karen arrived, ankle monitor beeping inside the exclusion zone. Sheriff Johnson charged her with injunction violation and escorted her to a cruiser, captured on camera. A week later, prosecutors filed RICO charges. 2 commissioners switched sides. Pine Creek HOA collapsed. Thompson Ranch title was cleared. Grandpa painted "Roots Don't Budge" on the excavator. Under a calm autumn sky, I proposed beside the creek that had swallowed a kingdom's pride. Emily said yes, And the water whispered on, free of drones, fences, and fake boundaries forever.